Welcome to the Casual Shooters Podcast, your premier podcast for the casual shooter. I'm your host, David Riddle. So earlier, we had a special guest come on who hadn't been on in about a year and a half, NJ Beal. Well, we have another special guest for you today. She's been on here multiple times, hasn't been on in a little while, so it's a good time to catch up. And since I should have checked my Excel spreadsheet before I'm saying this, but I'll just say this. Since she started winning national championships around the 2018 timeframe, she has 17 of them. And I think this is where I'm going to have to check with her in a minute when we bring her on. I think she has 3 world championships, a rifle, a PCC, and a handgun in production optics. But we'll get confirmation of that in just a second. So if you would, join me in welcoming back to the show world champion Justine Williams.
Hi, everyone.
How you doing, Justine?
Good. How are you?
Good. So am I right? 3 world championships?
Well, in PCC and production optics, I've got individuals, and then in rifle, I have a team gold and an individual silver.
Okay, that's where I was wrong then. So you have an individual silver.
Yeah.
So you were close. Okay.
Close. Yeah.
Gotcha. Now, when I had you on the first time a long time ago, we did the whole icebreaker introductory questions, but I've since changed them.
Okay.
And now there's a couple of them. I would be curious to hear what your answers are based on where you are now in your shooting journey versus where you were there.
Okay.
So I'm going to hit you with a couple of them right now. And the big one is this one. This is the one I was really like, this is why I wanted to ask these. Because you have really in the last, was it 2018 you won your first one? I don't have my spreadsheet up.
So I believe my first national title, which was in IPSC, was 2018, but my first USPSA national title was in 2019.
Okay, 2019. So from 2019 to 2025, in that 6-year span, you have 17 of them.
Yeah.
So that's a lot in a short period of time. But here's my question, and I don't know if you've heard it yet, but if you could learn, if going back to when you started, even as a kid, when you first started getting into this, if you could learn one skill instantly, think about Neo in the Matrix where they plugged in, they downloaded the program to his head, and then he did his thing. What would that one shooting skill be?
It would be trigger control and the emphasis of prepping and then pressing the trigger. That whole prep, aim, and then fire. Even to this day, I'm still working on it. So if I could just download it into my brain, I would definitely take that.
Okay. What is it that you find difficult about that?
I don't have a lot of patience in general. That's with life and also shooting. So I just want to go as fast as I can. And I somehow skip over the prepping part. I just slap the trigger and hope it lands on the target. So if I could just learn the press part of it, I would go much further.
Okay.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah. It's such a basic, fundamental, but it's so important.
Well, yeah. I mean, look, I still find myself on occasion prepping the trigger as I'm coming on and like, oops, that was between the targets. Let me get over a little bit more,
Yeah, absolutely.
So it's like, thank goodness it was in the berm off the target and not in a no shoot or something like that, It's been a minute.
Yeah.
You've won a crap ton of stuff. What was 2025 like for you, just overall?
2025 was a wild year. A lot happened. I don't even remember all that happened in 2025. Honestly, we'll have to walk through it together so you can kind of remind me everything. But it was a good year, honestly. Overall, a lot happened professionally. A lot happened in my personal life. So it was a good year altogether.
I believe you got engaged in 2025.
I did, yes.
You won at least two national championships and a world championship.
Let's see. I think two nationals and two worlds.
Okay. Oh, two. Oh,
Because
yeah.
PCC and handgun happen to be
Y-
like 4 or 5 months apart.
yes. Yeah. So that and PCC was in Europe, with the Czech Republic.
Yes, it was in May in Czech.
Okay. So let's start there then, because that would have been the earliest major match.
Yeah.
That's the earliest championship match you shot.
hmm
And I mean, luckily you live in Arizona, so even in these what would be colder months for the
Right.
rest of the world are not very cold. They might be cold for, Arizonans, but they're not cold for the rest of the United States. So
Yeah.
how much did that help you to be able to prepare for the PCC World Championship?
Oh, it was good. I started training physically, like in the gym, back in, I believe, November. And then I started shooting training PCC only in February. So I had February, March, April, and May, just all PCC full in. So it was good because February in Maine or somewhere up there is still really cold with lots of snow. Versus
Mm.
us, we're lucky, we're like 60 degrees, so it's beautiful outside.
Yeah, at least you guys have weather that's warm enough you can get out and train
You
like year
can,
round.
for us, we suffer through it, especially in the morning. It's like 40 degrees. Oh my gosh, it's so cold. But it's manageable. It's definitely manageable with some hand warmers and a jacket.
All right, I'm
I
going to do a test. If money were no object, what would you be doing right now?
paddleboarding on the river.
Okay. Yeah, your audio is much better. And that's a
Okay,
good answer.
good. Thank you. Paddleboarding on
Which
the
river?
river. Um, Honestly, any river. There's so many rivers here in Arizona. One of my favorite things we did last year with Lynn was every single day after practice, we'd go paddleboarding down the river. So, yeah,
Okay.
fun fact.
I assume stand up paddleboarding.
Well, we had our dogs, so standing up on our paddleboard with the dogs was a little difficult. So we were like kneeling or sitting, but the dogs had
Okay.
so much fun. Yeah.
Okay. So you don't get a kayak and put them in the kayak. You're like
No.
you
Yeah.
travel at your own risk, dog.
Yep, and they both have so much fun, and they swim down the river, or they'll hop on the banks and they'll chase us down the river, or they'll just ride with us on the boards.
Man, they're living their best life.
Yeah, yeah, it was a good time for sure, especially when it was 115 degrees outside.
Yeah, that's ridiculous. That's where I don't know how you guys do it. I could not. Like, it was 73 degrees yesterday and I was sweating. It was 80 degrees today and I was already sweating. So
Yeah,
there's no way I can do 115.
yeah,
Mm, goodness gracious. I almost feel like that should be illegal.
yeah. It's very hot. Yeah.
Now, you did not go to Thailand in 2022 for the world shoot, for handgun world shoot there.
That is correct.
But you did, was it 2024 you went to the rifle world shoot up in Norway? Was that the year it was?
In Finland, yes, 2024.
Yeah, Finland. Norway, Finland, one starts with an N, one starts with an F. um, okay. So, that wasn't your first time traveling overseas for a world championship then,
Correct.
but
Yeah, yeah.
but
We definitely like one thing that I did bring up. I was really upset I didn't make the 2022 Thailand World Shoot, but seeing
mhm.
how pistol is like my main at the time, it was my main division. I think it's actually kind of a blessing in disguise where my first world shoot happened to be rifle, where it's like, yeah, I'm really good at rifle, but that's not really what I'm known for. Obviously, I did very well for myself there, but learning the whole process of going out of the country with firearms and traveling out of the country with firearms, and like the world shoot experience and everything was for rifle, not pistol, which gave me a lot more confidence going into PCC World Shoot and handgun World Shoot with some experience behind me. That definitely made a big difference of I was staying calm and I wasn't panicking when something changed last minute or anything like that.
So, how much difference is it traveling overseas with a handgun versus a PCC or rifle?
So that's a hard question to answer because traveling to Finland was very easy when it came to, because they're actually a very gun like friendly country.
Oh,
And they're
okay.
very happy. They're very happy people. And so that in general was pretty simple. And then Czech was different than Finland, but Czech was also different from South Africa. South Africa was kind of a pain. And Czech was kind of a pain for ammo. So I think every country kind of
Mm,
has its ups and downs. But they were, all three of them were kind of unique in how you travel to that country. But the process is what you need the permits, you need this to leave the country, you need this to come back in the country, and all of that was pretty much the same.
okay. So, yeah, I guess they all have their own unique challenge.
Yes.
Interesting. And to all my Norway friends, I mean, that listen, and I know people from Norway listen to the podcast. I mean, they have reindeer. How can you not be happy when you have reindeer in your country?
Yeah.
You know? I saw the reindeer that people got pictures taken with. I'm like, I want one for a pet.
Yeah, yeah. We went to the North Pole. They literally have a North Pole in
Mm-hmm.
Finland, and we got pictures with the reindeer. It was awesome.
It was. It looked awesome. It made me want to go to Norway to
Yeah,
go to the North Pole. It
yeah,
literally did. I was like, I want to go there and pet the reindeer.
yeah,
I'm a fan of big animals, so
yeah,
not a fan of smaller animals. There are some cool small animals though. I don't want to make that
yeah,
sound like I'm against them. But it just kind of struck me because I feel like there are more countries that are more rifle friendly because they're harder to hide, so people don't have there isn't as much stigma behind them
yeah.
in some ways. But there are some countries where it doesn't matter if it's a rifle, a pistol, or whatever, they don't like any of it. That's
Right,
why I was
right.
asking.
Yeah, I could see that for sure.
All right, before we get deeper into next year, now you have I'm sure you're going to be doing all the world shoots again. Are you doing a shotgun?
I am not doing shotgun this year.
Okay, so no shotgun, but you'll be doing rifle again. You'll be doing PCC again.
Yes.
So, on a scale of 0 to 10, how excited are you for Mongolia?
Um, I would definitely say I didn't really want to go. Like, I never really thought about, oh, I would like to go to Finland. Like, I never, everybody wants to go to France, everybody wants to go to Italy, but I don't know. I just never thought of going to Finland. And I had a blast in Finland. Same thing with Czech. I never even thought about going to Czech. And it's the most fun I've had in a very long time. Going to South Africa, we were not looking forward to South Africa. And we had so much fun. We had so much fun. So, I feel like I have to get over the judge before you go
Mm-hmm.
kind of state of mind. I definitely hope it's not super cold. I've been told it could be super cold. Um,
Oh,
and I've also been told to be really careful of the food. So being cold and not having food is right now my biggest concern, but we still have a little bit to plan and, prepare ourselves for that.
right. Well, and I guess too, I mean, the closer you get, the better idea you'll have of what the temperatures will be like and all of that. So,
Yeah.
interesting. Huh. I wonder if you could mail yourself some MREs before you
Or
get there.
take a bunch of food. Yeah, honestly, I could
Yeah.
probably live off of some bread and peanut butter for 2 weeks. Honestly, that's okay.
It's going to take a lot of water because that's pretty dry. Peanut
Yeah.
butter and bread. You might want
We
to throw
want
some jelly or something on
jelly.
it.
Honey is good. Yeah.
Oh, there you go. I was just talking to someone about this the other day on the podcast where peanut butter, banana, and honey. Hell of
Yes,
a mix.
it's a really good mix. And
Oh my gosh.
crunchy peanut butter is the best.
Yes. Yeah, that's what
Yeah.
I said.
Yes.
Because we almost ended the podcast because he was creamy and I was crunchy.
No, no, crunchy is the best. Yeah.
I agree. I can eat creamy and I will eat creamy, but I definitely prefer. If it's just peanut butter and jelly and I have like plain potato chips around, I will slap those on there for more crunch.
For crunch, smart. Yeah.
Yeah, it's good. It's really good, actually. You don't really taste the potato chip, but you get that crunch. It's really
Crunch.
good.
Smart.
I imagine really crispy iceberg lettuce would give you the same thing, but I don't know if it's tasty.
Yeah, maybe, possibly.
Okay, and I don't know where the next PCC World Shoot is.
So that one is Hungary. And
Oh, okay.
yeah, so I heard Hungary and Czech are very similar, like in the sense of, I guess, how
Yes,
similar
Eastern
countries
Europe.
can be.
Yeah.
I guess so. That one I'm really looking forward to that one as well. Obviously this last PCC World Shoot was pretty successful, so we are already looking forward to the next one.
I'm not even going to ask you about Italy because I'm assuming that's a 9 or a 10 on the scale of wanting to go.
Yeah, this is actually really interesting. A lot of people are like, oh my gosh, you're so excited. And I've been to Italy before just for vacation, and I loved Italy. It's so beautiful. The
Yes.
food is incredible.
Oh.
It's so far away, though, I have to admit, like 2029, like, is so far away. Like, I don't know where I'm going to be at in just like life phases. And so I would love to go to Italy. Yeah, so I would love to go to Italy, but in 2029, like life phase wise, like I'm gonna be married. Who knows what's gonna happen from there? So yeah,
6
that's a little
kids
far.
barefoot in the kitchen making sandwiches.
No, not 6 kids. No, thank you. But we'll see. That's still a little far ahead for me to plan. We'll just stick with Mongolia and Hungary for now.
Interesting, because all right, I'm going to ask right now then. I mean, do do you see marriage being life altering to the point where you're no longer okay?
No,
Never mind.
no. I definitely I'm planning on qualifying for Italy. I want to qualify in optics. My goal is to be the first lady to win optics in that one, but obviously life comes with unseen obstacles. But I'm definitely still planning on qualifying, and if I'm physically able to go, I would like to go.
Fair enough. What would you shoot in optics division?
I have no idea right now. I currently have a voodoo priest, and that's kind of my LO gun at the moment. But seeing how I'll use that to qualify with. But seeing how Italy's so far away, I might get a new one by then.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, and I'm not asking you to give away any trade secrets here either, but could you see there being a pistol sponsorship between now and then? I know you have O-Sight, and we'll talk about that in a minute, but do you see a pistol sponsorship in the future?
I mean, I don't have anything in the works as of right now. But I mean, again, it's so far away. Like, not saying no to anything at this point. Yeah.
Nor should you.
Right. Yeah.
Because I mean, I can't imagine there isn't a company out there. Look right now. Christian Seiler, any match he's in, he's favored to win. I don't care what division it is. He's the best male shooter in the United States. And there are and we have some great shooters, Mason and Jacob and Nils, and there's a crap ton of them. But I think Christian is at the top of the heap. When it comes to women, you are at the top of the heap.
Oh,
Christian has a pistol sponsor. You do not, as I understand it. So I don't know why there wouldn't be someone out there that would want to sponsor you, because if it's optics, there are really 2 of you that I look at it as there's only 2 of you that I'm thinking of that could win this division.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's you and Morgan.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
I mean, honestly, I'm going to give credit where credit's due. Brenna has been in 4 years. If Brenna keeps at it, she's going to be really dangerous. And I think she's trying, I don't know what she's trying for, but if she tries to go for the optics, we're going to have a really solid team. I'm feeling really confident in that. Even if Morgan qualifies for carry optics or production optics, it's two pretty heavy hitters in one division. If it's Brenna and I feel pretty confident in that. So, we'll see. Again, so far away. Like, I can't even predict. I don't even know what I'm doing next week. I can't. 2029 is really far away.
And I agree with you about Brenna. I just had her on and her episode's coming out. So by the time this hits the podcast, hers will have already been released.
Yeah.
And we've even chatted off the podcast about some stuff, but just like what she's doing, what she's getting into, that type of stuff. But I totally agree with you about her. I guess I look at her as primarily an open shooter.
Which is so funny because, yeah, no, I feel like she just picked
I
up an
know.
open gun and just got, like, she just did so well. So, I mean, most people, if you come into my life a little bit later, like, a lot of people didn't know I shot open for actually, like, I did well. Like, I won nationals. So I feel like it just depends on when you come into the sport, really, because if you come into the sport when I was shooting production, like, you see me as a production shooter, because I shot production for 4 years, won a few national titles in that, made grandmaster in that, right? And then I faced the open, faced the PCC, won PCC, carry out optics. So, like, really, like, it just depends on when you come into the sport, really, I guess.
Right. Yeah, it does. Absolutely. But yeah, she is super dedicated. So
Yeah.
she's working her butt off. And I told her, I was like, the production optics women's team at World Shoot, I said, they're like the blue collar team. Man, you guys put in all the work and just whooped it over there. So,
Mm-hmm. I'm
you
excited
know,
to talk about that. Yeah. I'm excited.
yeah. And now with optics and production optics, that's going to kind of split you guys a little bit. So it will be interesting to see, who goes where. Like if you're looking to qualify for optics and if Morgan sticks with production optics, then I could see Brenna going optics division.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, like, I haven't talked to any of the girls, but if we're just trying to take home USA medals, I would say, like, we should split and divide and conquer, and half of us take optics and half of us take carry optics, and we can take home gold in a lot
Yeah.
of. And the women would take home a lot of gold because I predict a gold in individual and a gold in the teams, and that's 4 golds altogether. So, like,
Right.
we could divide on some conquer if we play it smart. But everyone does what they want to do, and that's good with me.
Yeah, of course. But I agree with you. I mean, if you guys were to do it like that, kind of like the men, where Mason and Nils went to production, and then you had the guy, they didn't shoot carry optics even though they qualified, so they
Yeah,
kind of divided as well.
yeah,
That is definitely from a team strategy the best strategy.
yeah, yeah.
But like you said, it's also an individual thing. So now that so I want to go there next, which is You've shot three, you've shot rifle, PCC, and handgun world championships, all three different types of formats.
Hmm.
So, what is it like competing at a world championship versus a national championship where you have a team that you're a part of? How does that affect you as the individual shooter?
Yeah, so I think it definitely depends on. It really depends on the team that you're on. I've been on teams where they're actually team players and they want to go and they want to win as a team. And I've been on teams where they don't act like team players, and it's a really unfortunate circumstance because I personally think if we're there to take home golds, I want to take home as many golds as I can. So that includes being part of a team, and you're only as strong as your weakest link. So supporting each 4 of the members is super important to me, and that's kind of how I walked into every world shoot. Um, and yeah, like, I definitely felt like I definitely wasn't the leader on the men's when I was on the men's team. I definitely feel like I was just trying to hold my own there. But that team was incredible. it was just all the three guys, Max, Zach, and Scott, were just super incredible to be like on their team and everything. Everyone was helping each other and stage planning, and we were working together, and it was a really cool dynamic. And then going into South Africa on the production optics ladies team, I kind of felt, I don't want to like self-proclaim myself the leader, but I definitely kind of took everyone under my wings a little, because Brenna and Nicole had never been to a world shoot, and
Right.
they were very new. Kaylee obviously has done it before, so she was a little bit helping on the back end of stuff. But I definitely kind of took more of a leader role on that, and I tried to do a team practice, and we got everyone to shoot IPSC Nationals on the same squad beforehand, and we were really trying to coordinate everything together so everyone felt comfortable and everyone felt involved. And obviously it really paid off, because I think we won by over 200 points or 200 points or something like that. So
Yeah.
I think that in general just really paid off. But I actually really love the team dynamic if everybody works as a team.
So for those of us which is the majority of the audience, who haven't gone to a world shoot and been in that team dynamic, I don't care if it's rifle, PCC, handgun, shotgun. What is the difference? Like, how do you, everybody goes there wanting to win a gold.
Yeah.
Okay. Like, I'm sure initially when you go over there, you're like, I need to perform at my level and win a gold individual. That's what I'm going for.
Mm-hmm.
But how does that also then translate into team work?
It's just definitely looking at it from the bigger picture. Obviously, like when I walk into a stage at nationals, I generally am stage planning with some other people, or I'm asking some sort of questions, or like I'm kind of keeping myself, but I'm kind of looking what the group is going to do. When it comes to any world shoot event, I don't care what the other teams are doing that we're squatted with. So we were squatted with South Africa, let's say, and we were squatted with Australia, or what, something like that. I'm going to ask the other three people on my team, what are we doing on the stage? And I use the term, what are we doing on the stage? Because 95, 98% of the time, we pretty much were all doing the same stage plan, unless there was slight differences. Because there was either a right way or a wrong way on most of the stages. And so you're
Right.
really just going, what are we doing on the stage? And you're really talking about things back and forth, and you're bouncing ideas off of each other. And you're not going into it with, I have to perform on this stage. I'm going into it as, we have to perform on this stage. And if someone fails or someone hits a no shoot or a mic, you bring them aside. You're like, you're okay. Like, what can we do to help you? Instead of just being like, oh, better luck next time type thing, which I've definitely seen before at like nationals. Or you just completely ignore the whole thing. But any little thing, good, bad, or amazing, we would bring it up and be like, what do we need to do? Or how can you repeat that? Or things like that. It's just definitely more of a team sport, and I really liked it because I didn't grow up playing team sports, so this was my really first
Mm.
experience being on sort of a team. I didn't really like the idea of a team sport growing up, because I put in my theory was, I put in all of this work, and now I have to depend on someone else to make sure they're doing their work, because I mean, I can only do what I can do. I can't control them. And that was always my theory of, I would hear my friends complain at school that, oh, well, my teammate just blew the game for us, right? And I'm like, well, I don't have that problem, because it's all on me. If I blew the match, I blew the match. I couldn't blame anyone else. And it's definitely a very unique experience going from no team sport to, I'm on the world stage with a 4-man team that don't live at my local range. We live all across the country. So we have to
Right.
communicate via text messages or via FaceTime, or, yeah, are you going to fly out this weekend? We can train together, like that type of thing. It's not, hey, let's go out tomorrow and train for a couple of hours. It's just a very different dynamic.
Yeah, it's not like you're at the Olympic Training Center all getting ready to go.
Yeah.
So how difficult is it trying to, do FaceTime or what Zoom or whatever you use to, was there much conversation like that before you guys even got over there?
We definitely had a lot of, we had a group chat going. It was a PO ladies team. And, we were bouncing ideas off of each other. Hey, is this legal in IPSC? Or, hey, I think we're going to practice this. Or, hey, I think we're going to go to this major match. Does anyone want to go? And I tried to get the team to come out to Phoenix and train all together. It just didn't really end up working out. Kaylee ended up flying out, and we trained for a few days, and then we all went to IPSC Nationals and were able to squad together last minute, and it was so great because we felt each other's vibes, and it was kind of like a test run in a way, and it was really great. I think that beforehand was such a great idea, and I'm glad all four of us could make it work.
Okay. How I asked this of Jay Beal when we chatted the other day or a couple weeks ago now, and I asked him, I was like, how much did you guys talk as a team before or at the start of the day or the end of the day? And it really didn't seem like there was a whole lot of conversation there. There was some, but less than I would have expected him to say. What about for you guys? Like, did you guys stay in the same place, or were you all scattered out in South Africa too?
So for the PCC World, when I was on the guys team, Max and I live in the same city, obviously. So leading about a month leading up to the match, we were practicing 5 days a week together.
Okay.
But there wasn't really a lot of communication between Scott and Zach from us. There's like a little bit, but not much at all. Going into and we didn't stay together in Czech. We didn't. I don't know where they stayed, but we didn't stay together. Going into South Africa with the ladies, we actually Nicole, Brenna, and myself stayed at the same Airbnb, and obviously Mason was Kaylee was with Mason. But the three of us girls stayed together, and it was good. Brenna and Nicole actually shared a room, so they got a lot of bonding time. I was able to, if I had a rough day on the range, I was able to excuse myself to my room, and kind of, but it was a bed and breakfast, so we had breakfast every morning together, and that was really great. We would talk about what stages were coming up and stuff like that, so that was a really cool experience too.
All right, hold on. Even when you had to be on the range at 6:30 for that early morning start, you had
Yeah,
breakfast?
so we had the people we stayed with, they actually made us to go breakfasts, and we all drove in the same van together. So we all shared the same rental
Wow.
car. Yeah, so we had to go breakfasts, and we would talk on the way to the range.
Okay.
Yeah,
That's pretty awesome, actually.
yeah.
I did not expect that answer.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. Everyone who stayed with us, it was a huge house. It was really huge, and it was Brennan, Nicole, myself, Carson, his mom, and Linda Turnbull. So we were all
Okay.
in the house together. We all shared the same vehicle, so it was really good. It was a good
Linda who?
Linda Anthony. Sorry, she was a Turnbull at the time. I got corrected the other day, and I was like, whatever.
I got the best one ever. So my dad and my sister is pregnant. She's giving birth. So we go to the hospital. I drive my dad up there and we go to the hospital. And we're like, yes, we're here to see a Liz Riddle. She's in labor and delivery giving birth right now. And they're like, we don't have a Liz Riddle. I'm like, yes, you do. I'm like, she's in there now. I was like, I don't know the room, but they're up there. And me and the nurse got in basically an argument.
Oh
And I'm
my
like, oh,
gosh.
my bad, Liz Scott.
Scott.
you know?
Okay,
And it's like, oh,
sorry.
yeah, we have a Liz Scott. I'm like,
Yeah.
"Grr." So I've been there, done that. And I made a fool of myself. So, but I'm stubborn. So I'm like, I am not wrong. There is a Liz Riddle here, and I will go there whether you like it or not. Kind of a
Great.
thing. Yeah. So, and then I realized that I was the knucklehead.
Oops.
So, what that is pretty good that you guys had that much communication. Now, backing. Oh no, I'm gonna add another thing in there while we're talking about it,
Okay.
because talking about IPSC, which is different than USPSA, so different than the American way of doing things, which makes it wrong. You have to stay within the confines of the fault lines. You have like completely transformed your physical form,
Mm-hmm.
and you have been busting your ass in the gym.
Mm-hmm.
How much I personally think, and I talked to Jay about this too, where I feel like if you are competing at the IPSC level, fitness plays more of a role because there's no shortcut. You
Yeah.
can't you can't just walk around this barrel and go back into the fault line and then shoot a target. No, you've got to run all the way around and do so. Everybody, like you said, 95 to 98% of the time, everybody's you almost wear a path in
Yeah.
the fault line because all 1,500 shooters run the same one.
Yep.
So I feel like those people, the more physically fit, the more explosive you are, you now have that advantage that you need to put an extra few tenths of people on every stage. Agree or disagree?
I agree for sure. And I kind of noticed that IPSC shooters in general, like, I feel like they put a bigger emphasis on the fitness. Like the foreign shooters I follow on social media are definitely posting a lot more like workouts and like in the gym, like stuff like that almost. I don't really know. I wouldn't say physically looking at them I can tell a difference, but I mean coming
Right.
from a standpoint of I wasn't physically fit and now I'm not super physically fit. I mean goodness. But, I'm definitely more physically fit than I was. I can definitely personally tell a difference. And it obviously paid off for 2 world shoots. So, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, well, I'm going to throw this out there. Pavel Zenkar is a big dude.
hmm
I don't know that I've ever seen a big dude move the way he moves with a PCC or a rifle through a stage.
Yeah, it was really interesting. I was actually talking to Pavel, and I can't remember what match it was at or if it was at the end of PCC World. I think it was the end of PCC World Shoot. And we were having a small discussion and he said something like, "Oh, I can't wait to eat whatever I want." And I looked at him and I was like, "What?" And he was like, "Oh man, I've just been hitting all the gym and dieting." And I was like, "Yeah, same. Like you're right." And then I was like, "Well, I got handgun worlds in 4 months, so 4 more months and I can do whatever I want." It literally was just like hit the ground running again for the next world shoot. But yeah, it's really interesting what like you don't notice and like a lot of people aren't posting about it or anything like that. But there's a lot more that goes into my performance at the range than just range time. Diet, exercise, shooting, dry fire, all of that makes the world champion, not just shooting well.
And you don't work for a firearm manufacturer that I'm aware of.
I
So,
do now. I do now.
okay.
But it's my 9 to 5. I have a 9 to 5. I work for Dillon Rifle Company and Dillon Arrow, but I do their marketing. So right now my thing is finding a good balance between work, shooting, and personal life.
Right. Of course. Now, how long have you been doing that?
I started at the beginning of November, so
So, after the entire season.
after the entire season.
Okay. So, you had in May, you had PCC World Shoot.
Yes.
In June, you had Factory Gun Nationals.
hmm
In September, you had Handgun World Shoot.
Yeah.
In October, you had Race Gun Nationals, which is PCC Nationals.
Yeah.
Okay. Mentally, how difficult was that?
It was a lot. I'm not gonna lie. It was a lot. This is like a small reason why I got a job. I was like, I need a break. But it was really interesting. Like going, finishing and completing my goal at PCC Worlds. I was like, it was just like a sigh of relief. Like, okay, the last 7 months hasn't been for nothing. Like all of this, it was like obviously I changed physically and I was eating really clean and I was exercising 5 times a week for 2 hours a day and going to the range on top of that for 4 hours. I mean, this was full-time job and basically full-time. And
Right.
I remember standing on the stage at PCC Worlds, winning the individual. And I was just like looking at the audience and I started crying because I was like listening to the national anthem and I'm in first place this time. It was a really unique experience. I was crying because like thank goodness it was all worth it type thing. And I'm a girl, so I cried. And and then I literally we had a small vacation. I was there for an extra I think 6 days, just to kind of reset. And I literally landed, and that next weekend I went to Area One, and I went to Pistol for like zero practice. And I went to Pistol after not shooting a pistol for 6 months. I was like, time to get back for Handgun Worlds because I have 4 months to get in fighting shape for people against people who have only been shooting handgun for the last 3 years.
Right.
So I had a lot. Obviously, I was still going to gym at the time, but there was a lot. And on top of that, I got back in June, July, August, and September are peak heat months for Phoenix.
Yes.
So I was practicing, I was going to the gym super early, and we were practicing from, I want to say 9:30 to 10 o'clock to 1 to 2, like 1 to 2 o'clock in the afternoon. So it was 105, 110 degrees while we were practicing. And it was it was exhausting. I remember sitting on the range talking to Linda, and I was like, it's very hot for us, but we're out here for 4 hours a day. Imagine the people who are roofers or lay
Oh
concrete
yeah.
or like we are exhausted right now, but like these people work all day. Like we just have to be thankful and blessed that this is our job. And this is what we kept telling ourselves. We are blessed. We are blessed. And then we would go paddleboarding after to kind of cool ourselves down. We would take the dogs out. But that was really unique time in my life. I don't know if I'll ever get that chance again. Two world shoots back to back, physically preparing myself, shooting, being on the range with my best friend, like spending literally I would spend 6 hours with Linda a day. like, so it was a very great time in my life, but boy was it physically exhausting. And then I think I wrote a social post actually after I won Handgun World Shoot, and it's just basically like, guys, this is you don't see half of what shooters put into work. Like, unfortunately, it's not an Olympic sport, so we don't get a ton of recognition. But this is our lives, this is our career, and we like people who put in work and who truly put in the work. It's just incredible what people can do, and very very blessed to be in that situation for sure.
Well, and it shows. I mean, when all of you get to the world shoot, all of that work you put in shows. But like you said, it's not the Olympics.
Mm.
It's not even something that the media cares about. So the only people who know are the people who shoot,
Yep. Yep.
unfortunately.
I wouldn't say, someone asked me this the other day, and I was like, I wouldn't say we do this for recognition. Like, honestly, like, I
No.
don't go to World Tour and be like, I want everyone to look at me. Like, I go to these matches and I go to these because, like, I want to be the best. Like, doesn't matter any day, anywhere, any part of the world, I want to be known as the best. And that's why I do it. I want to win. Plain and simple. I don't go to have everyone give me a hand, like a round of applause or anything like that. Like it's truly just like self gratification of like, no, like I put the work in and this is the result. And that's kind of what's really unique about our situation. We don't do this to get all of this money and all of the sponsors because there is no all of the money and all of the sponsors.
Oh, I totally agree with you. And that's why I get frustrated when I hear people say, "Oh, the prize tables weren't very good." I'm like, well, "What are you there for? Are you
Yeah,
there for a prize table? Or are you there to shoot and see how good you are and do your, you know what I mean? Like
yeah,
that
I
that I
100%
find
agree.
annoying.
Yeah,
Yeah, I find that annoying because I have literally never walked a prize table, and I never
yeah,
will. I don't care to. It's not my whole point of being there. So uh, that especially when they're really good shooters, and I hear stuff about the prize tables, or like, well, Area Two so good, everybody goes there because of the prize table. I'm like, okay,
yeah,
well, I'd rather. I'm sure the stages are good. I'm not saying that. I'm sure it's a good match as well.
hmm
That's just the part of me that's like, so for you, it's not the competition. It's not the stages. It's something completely different, which is disappointing, I guess.
Yeah.
So I agree. I just wish the sport as a whole was something that got a little bit more attention, So
It's a great sport. It might be, I think the problem is if you don't understand what's happening, it's pretty boring. But like coming from, I grew up around the sport, and I do understand what's happening. I don't look at a someone running a stage and don't try and figure out what's happening. And honestly, sometimes I miss not being able to look at someone shoot a stage and like not thinking about, oh, what's happening, because I am dissecting every single little thing that shooter is doing, whether I know them or not. I might not even know them, and they might be D class. I was like, oh, well, I could have went left, clearly would have been better. And then just from looking at the stage, right? Or it could be a GM shooter, and I was like, oh my gosh, that was so smart. I can't believe he did X, Y, Z, and oh man, I gotta remember that next time, and every single time that happens, there's not a time in my life, especially now, where I just am looking at someone shooting and I'm blank.
yeah, you're probably going to be like that until you get out of the sport.
Yeah, even after the sport, I feel like
Yeah, you may still not be able to turn it off.
It's just in my brain.
Yes, it's ingrained at this point. All right, so you go to PCC Worlds, you come back, like you said, the very next weekend after you get back, you're going to Area 1.
Mm.
And then you have, what, about 2 weeks to get ready for Factory Gun?
Yep, I was pretty sure. Yeah, I think it was about 2 weeks from that point. Which, yeah, I decided, I might as well shoot belt. Why not? Make some more cash at it. So I shot belt at Factory Gun, which would do it again. I made some good money that weekend. Thank you, Hunter. Let's see. I think Morgan beat me at that one. I think she got me by like a point or something like that. So basically, one draw from appendix, I think, or one extra shuffle step somewhere. But she did very well at that one, and I was patting myself on the back for that one because I was like, I had 2 weeks after being on a rifle for 6 months. Like that's pretty dang good.
Yeah, I mean, it also helps that you've shot pistol a crap ton.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's still, it still puts you at a little bit of a disadvantage. But I love it when you and Morgan, and now, like you said, Brenna getting into the fold, compete head to head, because I think it just brings out the best of you guys.
Yeah.
When you've got someone there of equal skill, it really drives up that competition and it brings out the best in you guys.
Yeah, it's really, I don't think I've ever shared this before. Max can contest to this. We were coming home from Dragon's Cup. We were doing the 1 day turnaround. It was right before PCC World Shoot. And we were doing the shoot all of the stages in 1 day and turn home that night and drive home. And I got a call from Leighton. And Leighton said, hey, Justine, I just wanted to be the first one to inform you that you've lost 2 of your teammates. And we don't have anyone to pick up their spots. So at that time, that was Morgan and T. They had withdrew from handgun gold shoot. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I remember at that point I was on speakerphone and I was stunned. I was just sitting there and Leighton's like, I don't honestly know what I'm gonna do. I have some people in mind. But I just wanted to let you know before basically the news broke and you weren't kind of in a state of shock. And he's like, because you are going to be the person now that's going to be kind of leading the team. And I was like, okay, Leighton, I got that. I'm going to get through PCC World Shoot first, and then I'll focus on that because I got a World Shoot to compete at before that. And I remember hanging up the phone and I start crying. And Max, love Max. Max looks at me and he's like, why are you crying? And I said, I just lost my biggest competition. And he goes, oh, but now you're going to win gold. And I said, Max, you don't understand. I wanted to go to Worlds and compete against the best. Morgan is the past champion. I wanted to compete against Morgan. And I'm just crying. He hands me a microfiber cloth. Heaven knows if that cloth has been used for something else before. And I'm literally wiping away my tears. And that just like showed me, it was like, yeah, winning is great, but like I am a true competitor at heart and I just want to win against the best. I don't care if they're male, female, younger, older, junior, like I don't care. I just want to win against the best. And it was really unfortunate. I know she really wanted to go and
Yeah.
it was really unfortunate circumstances, but you know, pat on the back to Brenna and Nicole because that was in May. And so they got the call, I believe, at the end of May, so they had the same exact time I knew that I to prep for pistols, minus the 7 months of physical prep I had before that. So um, they were scrambling, obviously, last minute, and like, okay, do I want to do this? Yes or no? And they did it, and so pat on the back for them. So because that was they answered the phone and they went running with it. So good for them.
Yeah, and I mean, Brenna had a hell of a year.
Mhm.
So she won Open Nationals later that year. You guys won a team gold at the World Shoot.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, it sucks that Morgan couldn't be there, but it was nice that Brenna was able to slide into the spot and help you get, as well as Nicole, and help the four of you get that gold medal. So, is it Carson who's off the screen there?
No, that's Shadow, and she has a ball in her mouth, and she's
Oh,
whining. So I'm trying to be
oh,
like, just chew your ball.
I gotcha. I see you keep looking at her, making faces. I'm like, something's up off
If
the screen there.
the problem is she launches the balls, like she will put her paw on it and like swipe, so then it flies. And at that point, she will chase after the ball, and she's knocked over picture frames and lamps and stuff before. So
Mm.
like, just be calm, and I'll take you out afterwards.
Oh goodness. So you go to Factory Gun, and then after that, so that's the end of June, beginning of July. So you literally have it's 3 months from that point. You're at the 90-day mark from the World Shoot. How much does your how do I want to say it? So let me back up. When I was talking to Jay, this is where I'm trying to go with. I even think MMA. I think shooting. There's almost like a training camp period where you're not going to probably train hard for 3 months straight,
Hmm.
but you're going to pick up your training obviously at the 90-day mark. But at what point would you say you went into complete world shoot mode, train shooting every day? Like for Jay, it was 2 weeks. For 2 weeks prior, he shot like, or 2 or 3 weeks, might have been 3 weeks. He shot 10,000 rounds and did a lot of training. For you, when was that time frame?
It's really interesting. I think it depends on honestly who you ask because if you ask me for PCC, I mean, I was on the gun 4 days a week in the gym, 5 days a week, shooting 400 rounds a day, um, for 2 or 3 months. And then when I went to pistol, my fundamentals were bad. And like, I went from slapping a rifle trigger to all of a sudden I have to prep and shoot a pistol. So I took the first, I want to say 3 or 4 weeks and literally did draws, reloads, stand and shooting. I did
It's
full
almost like dry fire
fundamentals.
type stuff.
Yeah, I did full fundamentals on the range because my fundamentals were bad. And honestly, it was kind of scary because I was like, we are, after CO Nationals, we are 90 days out. And I can't hit a broadside of barn at 25 yards. Like, I'm gonna be real. If you put a timer to me, I am all over the place. And I was like, this is not where I should be 90 days out from the world shoot. And so I really had to just, I wanted to get, I was training with some people and, they wanted to do all the stage runs and barrel movement and I was like, guys, I'm not there yet. So if you want to go to a different bay, you go to a different bay. Like I cannot skip basics to just jump to everything else because I will definitely not successfully complete those tasks. And I'm really glad I kind of stood up for myself because it did take me those 3 to 4 weeks to really get back into fighting shape to where I could start, shoot those 25-yard skunks or headshots or plates and, stuff like that. So I would say I really cranked up the pistol shooting probably like again those 90 days out. Like I was worried. I was like, this is not world champion behavior. Like I just came off of winning PCC Worlds and I felt really not great about myself because now I'm supposed to be a leader of this team and I can't hit anything. So, and that was a lot of confidence. I was really lacking confidence, honestly. And I think part of it is because I went into Area 1 with like one training day because I got back and was so jet lagged and didn't want to go train. And then I went to Area 1 and I didn't shoot Area 1 very great. And then I turned around 2 weeks later trying to skim by. I was trying to cover all the basics, strong hand, weak hand, shooting on the move, just trying to at least get a little bit of everything. And obviously I came away with second on that one, very close, but I still came away with second. So I had not a lot of great confidence going into my training for world shoots. So I definitely had to take a step back and be like, whoa, basics. So just try and hit the target and then we'll add in all the complicated elements.
Well, I mean that makes sense. So, but it sounds like too you spent that first month from like we'll say July 1 to August 1 working on all the basics, and then you ramped up your training once you worked on those for the next 45 to 60 days, however long that was.
Yeah. Yep. Definitely for sure. Like, cause you think about it like that, at that moment in time, that was my full-time job. I woke up, went to the gym for 2 hours, went straight to the range, shot for 2 to 4 hours, depending on what we were working on and depending on how long we could handle the heat. And then we would go paddleboarding and I would go home and I would get my stuff ready for tomorrow. Like that was my day. So it was, I, I woke up and thought about shooting. I went shooting. I trained in the gym for shooting, and then I got myself and stuff and everything ready for the next day of shooting. So like that was my entire life, and going from and let me tell you, the meal prepping for the calorie deficit that I was trying to eat, like, and everything like that, that was a full-time job because I had to eat a certain amount of protein a day and also a certain amount
Right.
of carbs a day and hit the macros and all of that. That in itself was exhausting. So it was really full-time athlete prep work for those 2-ish months.
Yeah, that is literally like prepping for the Olympics if you're doing all that.
Yeah.
So cuz that's a lot. I mean, I don't I don't want to call it meal prepping. I'll just cook a bunch of food at one time so it lasts me a week. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
then I can just eat that stuff throughout the week.
Yeah.
Because I don't technically meal prep, but like yesterday it was it got in the 70s here. I hadn't had a really good Blackstone griddle day in several months because it was so freaking cold back in January and February. So, I pulled the cover off, I got it all heated up, and I cooked a bunch of food. So
Nice.
now for the rest of the week, I have stuff I can just heat up and I'm good to go. But that if you're actually meal planning, that's actually a lot of work because you've got to sit down and plan out like, what am I eating this day? Or, like you said, if you're figuring out macros and carbs versus protein and all of that, then that literally takes planning. I have so much in this meal, so much in that meal. So now you got to figure out what is going to be in those meals.
Yeah, and it was, and I learned, I had never heard of any of that stuff beforehand. So like my trainer at NDE, like he taught me all of that stuff. So I was literally figuring it out for the first time, like, oh, dang it. And then I would show him like, okay, this is what I ate this past week. And he would look through it and he goes, whoa, you need to bump up your carbs and you need to drop your fat and you need to, and like doing all this stuff. And we were constantly just micromanaging it. And it was a lot, but worth it in the end.
Well, at least you had somebody helping you. I mean, to try to
Yeah.
do that on your own would be a lot more work. How many
Mm-hmm.
times did you go to YouTube and watch videos on that stuff? Any?
No YouTube because
Just
that is
him?
a rabbit hole. Just him. That's a rabbit hole I didn't want to get into.
Right.
Just because
Yeah.
I feel like
And
there's a lot of misinformation out there, especially for athletes. Because like all growing up, like I was told, "Oh, carbs are bad. Oh, carbs are bad." Well, then when I was told, I'm like, "Oh my god, you need to bump your carbs up," and I was like, "No, carbs are bad." And he goes, you are an athlete. You need carbs. This is why you're so tired all the time. So
Well, it depends on the carb,
correct, but
Yes.
correct, but yeah, there's a lot of misinformation out there. So I was just listening to one person and taking it away with that.
Well, and you said it earlier. You said clean. You're
Mm-hmm.
eating clean. And that's the difference. There's clean carbs and then there's a lot of bad carbs.
Mm-hmm.
And if you go into Walmart, that's probably 75% bad carbs.
Bad carbs.
Yeah. So it definitely depends on the carbs. But and then again, everybody's different. Everybody responds differently to different things, and carbs for me, all of them are bad.
Yeah.
So it just depends on the individual. So, but that's a whole other rabbit hole that I'm not qualified to go down.
Neither am I. I only know it works for me.
That's awesome that you actually had someone who could guide you through the process and see what you're doing, kind of like a coach in anything else.
Exactly. Yeah.
So how happy, or at the end of the year, how happy were you that you stuck to going to the gym and went through all that work?
Oh, like I definitely, what's interesting is, I didn't feel the need to want to shoot, like actually want to shoot on the range till about 2 weeks ago. So World Shoot, I was pretty much, I was done. I wanted to be done shooting after Handgun Worlds, but I still had another nationals to go to. Then I had another
Right.
nationals to go to because I had PCSL nationals too, and area 2.
Yes.
So I really those last 3 matches I crawled through. Like it was definitely a crawl. But after PCSL nationals, I did not want to pick up a gun or go to the range till 2 weeks ago. And for the listeners, that was about end of February. So December, January, and February, I didn't even want to think about touching a gun, but I did because I shot the match in Florida. But about 2 weeks ago, I looked at Carson and was like, I think I want to go practice. And he's like, you do? He was so excited. You would have thought he would have won a lottery. Because he was like, you do? Because I don't even like him telling me about guns. Because I'm like, I don't want to talk about it. But it definitely was a hot minute before I actually wanted to practice again. But it was worth it, of course, in the end.
But were you still going to the gym and doing all of that though?
Gym, not. I went to the gym like maybe once a week. I definitely kind of fell off of it. I definitely needed like the gym and I had a break. But
Okay.
I'm back in the gym. I moved. I also moved to kind of northern Scottsdale, so I don't go to the previous gym I was going to anymore. Still love it there. Still highly recommend. But it is like 45 minutes away from me now, versus the 20 minutes it was before. So I just go to a regular, EOS. I know, like, I was taught all of the exercises, or I was taught exercises. I was taught how to eat cleaner. And, like, I'm kind of not as strict as I would. I'm obviously not preparing for my Olympics. But I'm obviously still trying to stay healthy. I play pickleball now. I do love myself some pickleball. So lift a couple times a week. So just trying to be, like, have an active lifestyle. And then, obviously, when Rifle World Shoot comes back around, we'll recycle it again.
So you go to the old folks home and beat up the old people on the pickleball court?
No, my apartment complex has 4 pickleball courts.
Get out of here.
It does, yeah, and it has a dog park right next to it. I'm not brave enough to leave Shadow in there by herself, but yeah, there's 4 pickleball courts, about a 1-minute walk from my apartment in my apartment complex, so pretty lucky.
All right. I had this conversation with someone else recently, but if you want to play a fun sport, which will actually help in shooting,
Pickleball.
racquetball.
Racquetball?
Racquetball will kick your ass. And I say that
Aw.
because, one, Justine, there is so much lateral movement because
Yeah.
people use the walls and the roof. So you are constantly exploding forward, exploding backward,
Yeah.
moving laterally side to side, turning around quickly to be able to attack the ball. There are literally so many things that apply to shooting and moving through a stage. It is amazing, but it's also like you'll sweat your butt off.
Yeah.
because it is so, like, I've played pickleball, but I've played way more racquetball. And racquetball, you will sweat it's literally a workout.
Yeah.
I have to wear a headband because I will just sweat so much going at, well, not now, but when I played all the time. And I had to wear wristbands
Oh,
because
wow.
the sweat would come down my arms and make my hands all sweaty, and I couldn't hang on to the racket.
Okay. Okay. I'll have to look into
So
that.
it's a heck of a workout, and literally your hand-eye coordination and everything. It just builds so many of the skills that you wouldn't imagine that are part of shooting.
Yeah. Yeah. That's why I was like, oh, pickleball is great because you have the lateral movement and then you have I think the hand-eye coordination to see the ball coming and
Yeah.
hitting the ball over and like the control. And it's fun. I get a little too competitive in it, obviously. I don't like when I lose. I get pouty. I'm not gonna lie. The rule is in our family for Carson and his parents come over and we'll play 2-2. Mark and I, his dad, have to be on the same team as me because both of us hate losing so much. One of us is a powder afterwards. So Carson and Carrie don't mind if they lose, and I and Mark love winning. So it's 2-2, and it works perfectly every time.
That's funny. So you guys should find a racquetball court, and
Okay,
you and Carson, and just give that a shot one day. Just play around with it, see what you think. But I'm telling you, one, it's a workout, and two, it's pickleball on cocaine.
for sure. Okay, I'll have to definitely look at it.
Okay. Just watch your ankles.
Yeah.
I've seen people, I've never done it, but I have seen people roll their ankles playing racquetball. So
Okay.
that is a possibility, just because, they're trying to go fast, whether they're trying to stop or whether they're trying to take off. Typically the people who weren't as athletic trying to do something athletic, and they're like, oh, their body's like, I can't do that.
Yeah, right,
So,
right.
now, I don't blame you one bit for taking all that time off,
Yeah.
because mentally, I don't even care about the physical part. Mentally, you've got to reset. You know what I mean? Like you've got to give your brain housing group some time away from the sport to kind of regroup. So
Yeah. I kind of have this rule that I set a couple years back that was I won't I won't touch a gun or like practice seriously again until I miss it. And where I wake up and I'm like, oh, I miss shooting. Like I want to go to the range. Like, no, we have to go this week. That's kind of like my set rule. Cause I noticed if you pick it up any sooner than then and you shoot as much as I do, about halfway through the year, you're exhausted and you've got 6 more months of shooting to go. So I kind of like figured, and for me, just because of how much I did last year and 2 world shoots and three or four nationals later, like it was about end of February, and it's time now. So I definitely want to go to the range and practice some more.
So are you? I like that they're doing nationals later in the year. Both of them are later in the year. I think that's better, especially the whole eastern half of the country had a pretty long winter so far, and
Yeah.
and a cold winter. So I don't like the May and June nationals because those people are at a significant disadvantage. Although, I mean, they do what they need to do to be ready. I get
Right.
that, but
Yeah.
I like it later in the year because that also kind of puts it off for those of you in the warmer climate. It kind of puts it off for you too. You don't have to pick up something in January to get ready for May.
Yeah.
You can wait till March now, because I think the first one's in September. It's either
Yeah.
August or late August or September.
It's something like that. Honestly, I need to look at my schedule because I know I at least have 15 matches I'm going to this year. So it's a lot still. But no world shoots this year. I'm pretty sure I'm attending, I think at least 4 nationals. I think I'm going to go to IDPA nationals this year. I don't know yet. We'll see. There's a lot. There's a lot this year.
Oh,
So,
yeah. I have considered going to IDPA nationals and covering it.
yeah, I mean, I've shot IPA nationals before. I mean, I won the worlds. So, like, my whole thing was I won the IDPA Worlds shooting PCC overall, and I said, okay, I'm done. Okay,
Yeah.
I won all I needed to win. And then I was like, okay, I took a couple year break. I'm ready to return. That whole thing.
Right. Well, look, I think if they made a couple rules changes, the sport for younger people would be more popular.
Yeah.
So I was having this conversation with the guy an hour from me. There's a local club that runs USPSA and IDPA matches, and it's the same couple. They run both of them.
Okay.
And we were talking, and they were like, "Man, Dave, it was good seeing you. Haven't seen you." They hadn't seen me in 3 years
Mm,
because of all my knee issues. And I was like, "Yeah, it's good." I'm like, I'm not nearly as competitive because I can't move like I used to.
right.
I said, and he goes, "Well, it's not like he said there's always IDPA," and I'm like, "Yeah, you don't retire from USPSA, you retire into IDPA."
Into it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you know, yeah, because it doesn't require the amount of running and moving that USPSA does.
Yeah.
So,
Yep.
so the first pistol nationals is not until August 19th. So that is good. And then factory gun September, and then IPSC Nats in October.
Mhm.
But I mean, most of those, well, I guess the first one would be PCC for you, and then the next two would be pistol. So limited optics and optics, I assume.
Still debating. What I need to find out is what the qualification process is going to look like for handgun and PCC because I'm one of those people that actually wants to qualify for both and I want to be on a team for both. So I need to figure out exactly what matches gets me where because I don't want to miss out on one match because I'm busy qualifying for the other because I am one of those people who have the skill to qualify for both and go into worlds winning both. I've proven I've done it before. So I don't want to be punished for focusing on one and accidentally missing out on the other.
Right. Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, I feel like there's going to be enough IPSC nationals that you'd be able to qualify. Like
Yes.
if you're having to shoot PCC at race gun, which means you won't be able to shoot limited optics. I feel like I think you have to have 3, but you're right. I mean, that would definitely be something to check on.
Yeah, I think almost because what's going to be difficult is yes, they are spaced out by 1 year now. Obviously PCC is first, and then handgun is, but obviously depending on when the nationals is for the year of when PCC, obviously that year is going to qualify for pistol the following year. But if I'm prepping hardcore for PCC, do I have to all of a sudden switch to pistol to try and get a qualification? Is because if that matches before or after, that could really change the possibility of it. So I just need to sit down and figure it out. I don't know if people know the qualification process yet because I've asked before and people don't know. But
Right.
someone needs to figure it out and let everyone know how that's going to look.
So do you need to know what the qualification process is for both PCC and handgun?
Yeah, that would be prep. Oh, yeah, you get right on that, Dave. Yeah, that would be optimal. Just what the matches are because, and then what are the minimum requirements for each would be really good.
Well, and I'm asking because I may end up I'm going to give somebody a call. He might have some colorful hair and sells a certain type of sunglasses. Sunglasses. They might be gold.
Great.
Who's having Leighton on this week.
Okay, that would be great.
So, because I do think that's probably something. Look, you're not the only one.
There's a lot
Everybody
of
wants to
people.
know.
Yeah,
Yeah.
whether or not you're going to one and not the other, or whether or not you're going to try and go. I know multiple people that want to try and go for both. So like, especially because the qualification process in the past has been hush hush. Like it really hasn't been pushed like and announced like it properly should, in my opinion, at least. So I think there definitely needs a page somewhere that definitely should be these are the matches to qualify for this, and this is the minimum you need. That's as simple as a breakdown as we all need.
And actually, it's tomorrow.
Perfect.
So Brian he'll already be out, but Brian is having Leighton on tomorrow, 4 p.m. Central. So 2 p.m. your time.
Okay.
They're going to be live on Rumble doing that whole episode. So I may try to get a hold of Brian and, Mark Schulte's like, oh, I'll be there. Corey Klemashevich even commented. So
Perfect.
people are, people who are looking to qualify for world shoots are definitely going to be tuning in to find out what, hopefully, he can shed some light on that. I know it's early, but this year starts the qualification process.
Year.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is the qualification
Absolutely.
year.
It's early in the year is my point. So,
yeah.
But hopefully, we already know all the nationals will count, but how many what's the
is
minimum?
The main problem. Yeah. And what's the minimum?
Exactly. And for those of you who do, PCC and you want to do a pistol, well, you definitely need to know because limited optics is typically thrown in with race gun, which is when PCC is.
Yeah. That's where my problem is.
Yeah, exactly. I would actually almost rather see PCC thrown in with multi-gun or have it be its own standalone nationals.
I think, yeah, it should. Well, the problem is if it's a standalone, it's a whole thing. I think it's a whole thing. How the matches should be broken up and, blah, 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 blah. And some divisions should be gone. We shouldn't even have some of these divisions in nationals, in my opinion.
I don't disagree.
Yeah.
There's one that should be gone, period. Like completely get rid of it. and I have made I've been tooting that horn now for several years, but limited 10 needs to be axed. Just do away with it. Cut it. I don't care that you're allowed an optic anymore. Just cut the darn division.
I agree.
You have limited, especially with limited optics now. So you're just shooting limited optics 10. Yeah. Why do you have two of the same divisions? It makes no sense. Look, you're getting my blood pressure up.
Great.
So I know you still have plans, but like you said, 4 years is a long way away. That I actually like the idea of using world shoot years as qualifiers for future. And just hear me out for a moment. Right now they use 3 years. So I think I think it's your best 3 out of 6 I believe is what they're saying.
Yeah.
I would like to see 3 out of 8. And I say that because there are unique advantages or disadvantages, I should say, for certain individuals. I made a joke earlier about 6 kids, barefoot in the kitchen, that type of thing. But let's use Jessie Harrison. She got pregnant. She had a child. Well, what if she could just cut an entire year out of her schedule and not have to worry about it? So it would go to any woman. If they got pregnant, they could literally just say, okay, I have an extra year because I don't need those matches at all. I can just cut it out and I still have 6 matches, which gives me 3 options for the best, that type of thing. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
So if you wanted to use, like you still did very well last year during a world shoot year.
Yeah.
So, but the qualifying year ended in 2024. So why can't you apply 2025 to 2029? You know what I mean?
Sure. I think it's hard because, again, to predict that far out, because people who are on top 4 years ago are not the people on top right now. I mean, most of the time.
Right.
But I think it's just a play-by-play kind of situation. I don't know.
I get that. But if it's 25 through 28, because it always ends the year before anyway, it still gives, I don't think it's going to matter because you're still going to have to perform at a high enough level to beat out everybody from 26 through 28. You know what I mean?
I can see that for sure.
I just think in some situations, like take Jay Slater, his right before World Shoot, his wife gives birth to their first child.
Mm-hmm.
Well, he's not doing much at all this year because of work, new child, all of that. It would be nice if Jay could use last year's Nationals final, his finish, and apply that so he could skip all of 2026 and still have 2027 and 2028 to get the necessary scores he needs for 2029. You see what I mean? I agree with her.
Thanks.
See, she
Sorry,
agrees with
1
me.
second. I'm on a podcast.
Carson getting
Sorry.
her all wound up.
Yeah. Sorry, continue.
Oh, that's funny. But I'm just saying, that's the easiest example to use, you know. And for some people, it might be they switch jobs and now for a year they don't have the time. They might still be training and shooting and stuff, but they don't have the time or maybe the money at the moment to invest into going to a nationals or an IPSC nationals or whatever. So I think adding that fourth year in and allowing people to count it is not a big deal.
I could definitely see that.
All right, I want to throw something, a hypothetical at you.
Okay, send it.
All right. So I've been spending a lot of time doing a bunch of statistics stuff, and I found out something accidentally, not even meaning to go there. I was converting all major scoring to minor, and something really struck me, and that was that I didn't realize how much major scoring rewarded slop.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And that's the term I'm using. I don't mean it to be derogatory or whatever, but that's inaccuracy. It actually somewhat rewards less accuracy than minor scoring.
Yes.
And I was like, oh, that's very interesting. And then I saw something that really stuck out because I scored every single national match from 2020 through 2025. So every one of those now, not multi-gun, that doesn't count. But any pistol nationals I converted, and I didn't do IPSC nationals. It was just USPSA nationals from major to minor. The other thing I did when I did all of that was I did an aggregate hit factor. So what I mean is instead of scoring the match based on stage points, your match standing was based on your hit factor for each stage.
Okay.
So you didn't get 100. If you're the winner of a stage, you didn't get the 100 points for the stage win. And then everybody did not get a percent. You literally just got whatever your points were is what you got. And then at the end of the match, I broke down what your overall time was. I deducted all of your penalties. So I had your total score minus your penalties divided by your overall time. And that was your aggregate hit factor.
Okay.
And I found that it actually rewarded speed.
Oh.
Well, now you still had to have some accuracy. You couldn't be crazy, but there was one example I used the other day where someone went from like 7th to 3rd.
Oh, that's a big difference. Yeah.
That was a massive difference. And I'm like, oh, I think it really rewards those people who have a little bit more of a swing. Mm-hmm. Because if you're on the downside of a swing on a 160 point stage, well, you could lose 40 points easily. Yeah. So now it doesn't necessarily, you don't get penalized for that. It probably, I guess how I would phrase it is it rewards you more for risk taking.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on how would you be for or against something like that?
I feel like USPSA in itself is pretty interesting because it makes you be good at both almost. Like obviously some of the bigger stages you have to be more speedy and some of the smaller stages you have to be more accurate and stuff like that. And in me of all people, I always say I've won most of my national titles being the fastest, not the most accurate. I don't think I've ever won a national title being the more accurate shooter. I'm generally one of the more faster shooters, ladies or sometimes guys. So of me of all people, I think you would think I would kind of lean into that, but I think there's a certain beauty in USPSA with no, you actually do have to aim a little bit sometimes. Versus IPSC and the smaller courses, it's very accuracy heavy. Versus USPSA, I tend to see is a little bit more speedy. But I don't know if I would completely change the scoring system to be more speed because people like, especially people like me, like I am faster. And so it would almost be too easy. What would I have to, I mean, to get faster? Like, I don't think I would change it.
It now that I will say that one finish that I was talking about, that was the exception and not the rule. Like there were a few people where like, fifth might swap with fourth or something like that. That was really unusual, that big jump like for that one person. But I just noticed that for the most part they still fell in order.
Yeah.
But I did notice that it it did reward a little bit more risk taking. And I think that was also with minor scoring.
Yeah. Yeah. I
I'm
don't know. Like, I think I'm very, like I said, I'm a fast shooter in general, and that's kind of where I shine. Is anywhere where there's a speed acceleration like point where I can really capitalize on that aspect of the stage. And I just kind of mosey on through the accuracy stages the best I can. I've never claimed that's my forte by any means. That's I think why honestly I think that's why the Americans did kind of so good in South Africa is because it was more of a speed oriented match. Um, and I think that's why we just absolutely dominated because that's USPSA, right? Like we know how to go fast. And IPSC is definitely more of an accuracy based type thing. So yeah, I don't know. I think I would probably keep it the same.
I'm going to throughout the year I'm going to track it the other way just to see if there are any differences. Like this is the typical difference here where and it's funny too because this is what I'm talking about. If you do that exact thing last year at Race Gun Nationals, if you did it for major power factor, there were a few swaps.
Okay.
Okay. So third place would not have been Robert Crow. It would have been Blake Miguez.
Okay.
And then, where's the other one? I just saw it. By 2/100ths of a point, John Browning would have been sixth and Gorka would have been seventh.
Okay.
The other one is it Brady Atkinson? And Justin Larkin would have swapped places at 9 and 10. So, those were some different ones there on the minor. If you score it minor, it actually had them as they finished.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah. Their aggregate hit factor matched exactly what their standings were at the end of the match. So 1 through 10, as they were awarded, is exactly how they finished when I converted everything over to minor hit factor and did aggregate all the same.
Interesting.
So maybe the aggregate hit factor is closer to everybody doing minor scoring.
Yeah.
Well, that's when I did minor scoring though. So
A lot of maths right there.
Yeah. And Dave Savigny would have actually won single stack and not John Vlieger. So I don't think John's going to be a fan. If I were him, I wouldn't be a fan. Oh, that was interesting though, because he would have beat him by 27 hundredths of a point, or
Oh
in
wow.
hit factor,
Right.
27 one hundredths of a hit factor. So still very close. But this is what I mean. Like for Dave, he was nine 9 seconds faster than John, and he had a higher alpha count. What hurt him was he had more penalties. So that's what hurt him in his stage finish. When you do the aggregate hit factor, the fact that he was faster and he had a higher alpha count overcame the penalties that he had, and he actually ended up first and not second. So it's interesting
It's
how
interesting.
it shakes out.
A little bit, and not much though, but a little bit.
No, but yeah, a little bit here and there.
Yeah.
So it would I'm going to have to track it and see how it all plays out, because also shoot, I got to So actually Jay Leese would be a fan, because Jay Leese would have been fourth, not fifth. So
Great.
it's just interesting. It doesn't matter. It's just I throw it out there because it's all opinionated. I'm not pushing for the USPSA to do it. It's just something that I accidentally came across. I had no intention of even looking at it.
Right.
But after doing all of those nationals, I started seeing these little things pop out, and I'm like, whoa. So it took me like 2.5 weeks to finish that darn thing. But
Crazy.
so we'll bring this thing to a close here, but what is 2026 looking like for you? Like, what's your schedule? How crazy is it?
It's pretty crazy. Like I said, I have a full-time job now. I say I have two full-time jobs because I'm actually shooting more matches this year than I did last year, on top of my 9 to 5, which is wild. And I'm also planning a wedding. So,
Oh yeah. Yeah.
so, and I moved. So,
Yeah.
a lot is happening.
Oof.
Yes. So 2027 is going to be a crazy year. I don't know if it will, 2026, excuse me. I don't know if 2026 will be 2025, because that was a pretty great year just in general.
Right.
But 2027 might. I don't know. Getting married plus a world shoot. I don't know. We'll see. But this year is just mostly a survive year with all of the schedule that's been planning and everything going on.
Okay. All right.
But lots of matches still. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know how you're going to fit it all in. Good luck.
Yeah. 5 hours of sleep a week. I don't know.
5 hours of sleep a week,
A
huh?
week. I don't know.
An hour a night. Good luck with that.
Great.
All right. Well, Justine, I appreciate you coming on.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. It was great to catch up again. We'll have to do one at the end of the year.
Okay. Sounds good.
Let's do it.